heat.
Welcome in, Whisper Nation. Welcome back to the channel. You know the drill. We got Waiver Wire Tuesday. That's happening. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Some of these names are not pretty, but
wow, damn with the bars, Johnny.
Just trying,
Getting
dude.
down to the nitty gritty.
Hey.
But some of these names are not pretty.
Hey.
My man, Johnny's got more bars than a Snickers factory up in here, dude.
I'm trying. So you know the drill, Whisper Nation. We got 3 weeks now. 3 weeks left to get you into the championship, or at least the playoffs, and then anything could happen. So we're going to get those bases covered. We're going to tell you some guys that you might want to pick up either for this week or maybe a little bit of a nice little stretch here. You might want to pick them up. We'll talk about it. As always, I got my main man, Big Travie. You can find him on Twitter at Big Travie TFW. What's going on, man?
Oh, chilling like a villain, but I'm not robbing or stealing. You know, we have it going on here today. We gotta hit the rap lyrics out here today. No, but look, as we always do, we want to get you guys set. Look, maybe you're in the playoff hunt, maybe you're not. You're bolstering that roster right now to try and do either win more games or secure your playoff seeding. Either way, we've got you covered. That's what we're here to do. And as Johnny said, these names aren't pretty, but we've got to at least make our mark to try and project what we have out there and see if we can make this final push. But Johnny, before we get into this, Gus Ramos already hot. We love Whisper Nation. They come in hot every day, and Gus Ramos hitting us with that super chat. So you know what that means. Hey, we got to hit him with the woo! Appreciate you, my man, Gus. I'm projected to lose my by a minimum of 15 to 20 points the next 3 weeks. But I appreciate the insights. You're probably the reason I'm still in third place. Well, Gus, we appreciate you, man. And that's a good point to say, look, no matter what projections say, no matter what you think when you're matched up against that player pre-week or over the last few weeks when you're projecting all this out, you've got to keep trying. You got to keep hustling, keep listening to us, keep getting your grind on as far as what's going on. And click that link in the description below to go ahead and get the link for my article, and we'll help you out there.
Yeah, if you don't want to, like we say, you don't want to look at our beautiful faces while we talk about these guys, you certainly just jump on down to the link in the article below and take it right there and read all about it, as well as read extra, read about past waiver wire pickups just in case any of those are available. Again, this show is based upon rostership in sleeper, so we don't talk about guys typically above 50% roster ability in those sleeper leagues. So those guys in this one I'll quickly mention. Of course, if these guys are available, you're putting in your waiver wire or spending the most fob or wob on these guys. It would be Brandon Ayuk, Zach Ertz, Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard, Kirk Cousins, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney, Devonta Freeman, Pat Freiermuth, the Muth, and Cam Newton. Cam Newton, which we did put on the graphic that will be flashed up a little bit, but we just wanted to make sure that people knew, hey, if Cam Newton is available, make sure you go pick him up. But again, when we talk about him on these shows, we typically just bring up guys that are less than 50% roster to help you out, Whisper Nation, because we know you're in really competitive leagues. But if you're not, sometimes people make mistakes.
Yeah, sometimes people make mistakes, as Johnny said. Michael Gallup poised for a lot of work on Thursday. Should something happen to Zeke, Pollard also looking for a lot of work. Kirk Cousins in a great spot right now, been dominating. And then, of course, Darnell Mooney, the breakout's happening there. Pat Freiermuth close to the 50% mark. So is Cam Newton. So pick up those guys if they're available there.
Love it. Love it. All right, Big Travie, we are going to jump in. Like always, we're going to start with the running back position. I'm going to flash up a little graphic here. We got something new for the channel. We got waiver wire ads for the running back position, week 12 here. We got Ty Johnson coming on for the New York Jets, 28%. Tevin Coleman, also New York Jets, 9% roster ability. And then we got Matt Breida, Buffalo, for just 3%. Dontrell Hillard at not rostered at on any, 0%. And then Rex Burkhead as well on 0%. So Big Travie will jump in first on Ty Johnson, New York Jets, 28%. Do you expect him to be the guy that fully takes over the workload now that we know that Michael Carter is going to be out at least a couple of weeks?
Yeah, if you read the article, Ty Johnson isn't my number one ad this week, but I do like Ty Johnson as the number one between him and Tevin Coleman. I do think because of his work in the receiving game, that's why I think he has a little bit more. And, most of us are playing PPR or some form of PPR. So that's why to me, Ty Johnson would be the more lucrative ad here over Tevin Coleman. Now, Tevin Coleman, however, was the guy who started this year as the RB, right? As the main back. But then we saw Michael Carter kind of, get forward here. Remember that Coleman has ties to this offense because Mike LaFleur, Matt's little brother, is the offensive coordinator. He spent time in San Francisco, which he spent time with Shanahan and Tevin Coleman. So there are some ties here to Tevin Coleman, and you think, he's back from injury. He got a little bit of usage in the late stretches of that game last week against Miami when Carter went out. So there's some ties there. It was really in a standard format, I think I would lean Tevin Coleman. In a PPR format, I might lean Ty Johnson as far as prioritizing my ads between the Jets back. But I think, Johnny, and I'm just going to transition right here, that the number one ad for the running back position this week is actually Matt Breida. And
wow. We got it. Hey, Ronald coming in here.
I know. Look,
no, not to the Bills.
This is the point we're at, Johnny. Like, I'm not out here saying you got to blow all your wob and really go after it right here. But Matt Breida has look, we're going to talk about Matt Breida, Ty Johnson, Dontrell Hillard. We talked about Tevin Coleman, and then, of course, sexy Rex Burkhead. But of all these guys, Matt Breida has the highest upside. You can't tell me he doesn't. When we're looking at what we have here, we have the Bills offense. We know that as the industry has been working this entire year, we've been working to figure out which running back for Buffalo could be the guy. And we thought it was going to be Zach Moss, even though there are some Devin Singletary truthers out there. Moss has not done anything. Devin Singletary has not done anything. But Breida has paced. I said in the article, Matt Breida has entered the chat, and he's paced the Buffalo Bills here over the last 2 weeks. So that's it. 10 yards per carry here over the last 2 weeks, or nearly 10 yards per carry over the last 2 weeks. He's got some upside if they make him the guy. So I think that's a situation where Breida is, look, if he gets more and more work, he's provided pop. If he stays on the field, he's been excellent as well. He definitely has the most juice out of these backs that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. I know it's a limited sample size, but if this team, look, they've had struggles, and if they say finally, hey, we need to run the football, well, so far, the most effective back they've had all year has been Matt Breida. So I think if we assume logical coaching down the stretch as the weather turns in Buffalo, Matt Breida could be a very, very interesting ad here.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about Dontrell Hillard, Tennessee Titans running back, signed off of the practice squad. We got to bring him up because he did see the bulk of the work for Tennessee. He looked pretty solid. We have done this now 3 weeks in a row with the Tennessee Titans running backs since Derrick Henry has gone down. What do you think? Is he the guy that you're going to want in this, or is this continues to be a revolving door and we don't know exactly week to week who to play?
Yeah, when I originally wrote the article, I thought I'd have Hilliard more of an ad. To me, he's more of an honorable mention this week as we work through it because Jeremy McNichols was out with a concussion. I imagine McNichols is going to come back. Hilliard kind of filled in for the McNichols role here, was used as a pass catcher and did it that way. Now, I do think there could be some value, especially in PPR leagues, in that role. I don't know if Hilliard is going to retain that if McNichols comes back, and then we're adding a fourth name to a running back backfield that's very muddled and a team that's not really playing up to their snuff right now. So for me, I'd kind of be avoiding Hilliard. I actually think that Rex Burkhead, and I know we're getting a comment here. Asian boy says, why should we pick up Rex? Did I miss something? Well, maybe you missed the fact that Philip Lindsay got cut this morning. As of this recording, they cut Philip Lindsay off the Texans. So this was a backfield we joked about, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, and we're still joking about it. Like, we don't want to go pick up a lot of Texans players, but we were saying, it's kind of a 30 for 30 store. There's 30 running backs. They're all over 30, and it's really ugly over there. They may not even get over 30 yards, but that's the situation we're dealing with right now. Rex Burkhead had 18 carries last week. And I know that we don't want to go pick up Rex, but Ingram's gone, Phillip Lindsay's gone, and now it's down to a couple guys in David Johnson and Rex Burkhead. And I think Rex is worth a stash here in deeper leagues if you're really, really RB thirsty, which in fantasy football we kind of all are right now. So
yeah, that's the only reason why I'm like, yeah, it should be considered. It again, not the sexiest name or the best name out there, but again, he's getting some kind of volume in a somewhat decent matchup next week. So that is the running backs, that we have on the waiver wire article. I want to appreciate every single one of you guys that are tuning in right now. If you could do us a huge, huge favor, hit us with a thumbs up on this video. Really helps out this video, and it helps get our name and our channel to a bigger audience. So we want to grow Whisper Nation. We want to help as many people out get into the playoffs and win those championships. So if you do us a huge favor, hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified anytime we do new content, which is daily. So it's a good time around here. We have fun. Yes. All right, Big Trav, we're going to jump into these wide receivers here that we've got on the waiver wire here. Waiver wire ads for week 12 wide receivers. We've got Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Green Bay, 17% rostered. You took it off. Why'd you?
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that.
Wow, unreal, dude. Cedrick Wilson, Dallas wide receiver. We know that CeeDee Lamb is dealing with a concussion still. We are not sure. They play on Thursday, so it might be difficult for him to clear that. And then we've also got Amari Cooper, not expected to play in this game as well. So Cedrick Wilson makes this lift. DeAndre Carter for Washington, only 4% rostered. He's looking like a nice little wide receiver over there, or secondary wide receiver for Washington. Will Fuller for Miami, 37%, and Kendrick Bourne for the Patriots coming in at 19%. But we'll start with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, MVS, who, if you tuned in to the waiver wire show, the Sunday morning live, your boy Whisper that said if you need a what the heck flex, MVS this week, all arrows were pointing to him having a solid and possibly explosive day. And he did have that. He capitalized. But do you think this continues to move forward? Or is this just that was because of the matchup? Or do you think we can really trust MVS moving forward as the number 2 option there in Green Bay?
It's a little bit of both. I do think that it was matchup dependent, and I do think that he's going to be a little bit trustworthy. I think that this offense is now going to face the Vikings, the Rams, and the Ravens ahead in their schedule, and all 3 of those games, I think they'll be pushed to throw in those games, as we saw them do against the Vikings last week. He saw 10 targets, caught 4 of them, 123 yards, had his longest touchdown of his career last week, showed the big playability that this offense really lacked when he was out with a hamstring injury. And again, I think the schedule is going to dictate that the Packers are going to need to throw and compete with some of these teams that are able to put points on the board. So for me, I like MVS. Of all these guys, I think the offense I like the most, the quarterback I like the most, and just a situation where I think he could benefit. You know, we have Aaron Jones out of the lineup for at least a couple more weeks. So that's a situation where more targets could filter to MVS's way as well. So I like MVS. He definitely has the most upside of all the ads at wide receiver this week.
Coming in as your number 2 waiver wire pickup, we've got Nick Westbrook I can't even say his last name. We call him
Ikhine, but I'm not sure.
Ikhine. That's pretty good. Tennessee Titans roster on 2% of sleeper leagues. A lot of these are really deep dives, but again, there's a lot of players that are roster over 50%. So Nick made the waiver wire a couple weeks ago, but then he was dealing with an injury. Now he's back. We've also got Johnson dealing with an injury. We've got AJ Brown dealing with an injury. Julio Jones not expected to be back, still on IR. So talk to me about Nick Westbrook.
Yeah, so NWI, as I like to call him.
NWI, I like that one.
7 catches on 8 targets, 107 receiving yards. So basically traded with Marcus Johnson the week before, who got 100 yards as well. Look, this is the bottom line. This team is desperate for playmaking. As you said, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and then, of course, Marcus Johnson, who is the latest waiver ad, out of the lineup. And then so A.J. Brown could be out as well. X-rays came back negative. But if A.J. Brown's out, I mean, we're talking about a guy who could be the target leader on his team for the next few weeks, and that's a big ad for a team that is desperate. Like, they don't have their starting running back. They won't have their starting wide receivers, so they're going to need to...
Heads are falling off.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So, like, what are we going to do here? We're going to have to go to the next man up, and that's what Vrabel's going to do. That's what we should be looking at in fantasy. And so that's why he's my number 2 ad, because, technically I think he might have a little bit more upside and a little better floor than MVS, but MVS in a better offense, I trust the quarterback a little more, so he gets the edge. But NWI, man, Nick Westbrook here is sitting here as a guy that I think is worth an ad.
Coming in at number 3, we've got Tre'Quan Smith, New Orleans Saints wide receiver. He's kind of taken over that wide receiver 1 role now that he is also getting back healthy. Callaway now being pushed more as the wide receiver 2 there. Tre'Quan Smith, we like him as a 1-week waiver wire priority, or do you think that there's potential rest of season that you might want to get him in your lineup?
We've been playing a lot of Where's Waldo in fantasy this year.
Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out who the Buffalo Bills running back should be, who should be the number 1 wide receiver for the Saints, and we still don't really have a clue. But we have Kamara likely out again, Trevor Siemian at the quarterback, and what we've seen now is 11 or more PPR fantasy points for Tre'Quan Smith in 3 of his last 4 games, and he's cleared 50 yards or scored a touchdown in 4 straight games. So over a month of really nice production out of Tre'Quan Smith as things have changed for the Saints. He's also got a decent end of the year schedule as we make our playoff push. Johnny, matchups against Dallas, the Jets, and Tampa Bay in 3 of his next 4. We like those secondaries to go after.
Those are nice.
In this nice push. So for me, Tre'Quan's a nice ad here. Might have a better floor than the 2 we talked about previously. Doesn't really have the ceiling with Trevor Siemian in at the quarterback position, but I like what he's put on. He's got the nice mix of put production out there and in a decent enough offense to make it as a top 3 option this week at wide receiver.
Last wide receiver we'll talk about here, Cedrick Wilson, Dallas Cowboys, roster on 9% of sleeper leagues. CeeDee Lamb, once again, most likely won't make this game because of the concussion protocol. We'll see. We've also got Cooper definitely out because of not being vaccinated. So Cedrick Wilson becomes a spot start if you need it for Dallas on Turkey Day.
Yeah, the reason why he's so low is because I think he's just going to go away as soon as the wide receivers get back, but especially with Gallup returning. But I do think he's a sneaky ad this week. If you're looking for some juice, you get that Thursday night thirst on Turkey Day. I think he's a guy that could really do it for you. You talked about COVID. You talked about CD. Zeke also a little bit banged up. So Dalton Schultz and Cedrick Wilson and Michael Gallup are really going to be maybe potentially the big 3 for the Dallas passing offense. And I mean, Dallas, say what you will, they have the number 1 point total implied by Vegas this week. So even with the injuries, they should score the most points of any offense, or at least that's what the Desert thinks. They're going up against the Raiders on Turkey Day. After a bad taste in their mouth, they're trying to gobble up some other good stuff here on Thursday. And I think, this is a bounce back opportunity for the offense.
All right. That wraps up both the running back and the wide receiver ads for this week. Big Trev, I want to ask.
If you thought it was ugly, it's about to get even uglier. So let's do it.
Well, before it gets even uglier, I want to ask you a couple of wide receivers and a couple of running backs that you might want to drop for any of these players. We've also got some questions that pertain to this as well. So we'll jump in here first with Gus Ramos asking, should I hang on to D'Onta Foreman or go for Rex Burkhead or Matt Breida? Would you do that?
This is assuming, I guess, that you don't get some of the guys ahead, because I do think investing in one of those Jets backs would give you a starter right away. Breida is just an upstart. For me, I think Foreman and Breida have equal upside to me. So I would kind of hang on to Foreman because I think things could shake out even more so down the look. This was a weird game for Tennessee. If they get back to being, good at football like they were the last few weeks, then I think Foreman's going to have some big upside. But that's, to me, I think I would maybe keep on to Foreman ahead of Breida and Burkhead. That's how kind of nasty it is out here on waivers this week.
Dearness Johnson or any of these players?
I mean, I think you can drop Dearness, unless you're the Chubb owner and you want to keep on to him. But it looks like Kareem Hunt is nearing a return.
Jeff Wilson.
I'd hang on to Jeff Wilson right now. I think, I think it was 20 touches, 18 or 19 carries in that game against Jacksonville. We don't know if Mitchell's going to make it back in time. I think he was close, but I think if you're looking for a spot start, Wilson might be able to be the guy you start next week. All
right, got 2 more running back names for you, and then I'll give you a couple wide receivers. Jordan Howard and Adrian Peterson.
Well, Jordan Howard looks like he's hurt. Miles Sanders back. I think I'd be okay getting rid of Jordan Howard. Adrian Peterson's a tough one, man. I think that Adrian Peterson should be the goal line back, but this backfield looks a little bit too ugly for me. I think Foreman's the only one that's worth keeping on to because he has upside to maybe be the all-around featured back.
All right, for wide receivers, we'll make it fast so we can get to these quarterbacks and tight ends, and then we can get to listener questions. I'm going to list off 4 names, all right? You tell me if you would drop any of them or all of them for any of these players, okay? Brian Edwards, Mecole Hardman, Kenny Golladay, or Christian Kirk?
I'd hang on to Christian Kirk. He had his worst game there, but that was with Colt McCoy, and he basically got called out of bounds on a touchdown catch that would have saved his day. Kirk's the hold on the rest of those because he's essentially what we want MVS to be, which is the second option in a really nice offense. So I would hang on to Christian Kirk, but the rest of them I think you could drop for MVS, for Westbrook. I mean, you're basically just cycling through guys to, put a lottery ticket on. Can this be the next guy? And so I think all those guys are guys I would drop except for Kirk.
All right. Speaking of the next guy, we're going to jump into the quarterbacks here. Streaming quarterbacks, I tell you, it's not pretty. It's not gorgeous.
No, it's
not. I mean, the graphic looks better than the actual pickups. But once again, waiver wire adds, Cam Newton would be number one. If he's available, then it's not looking so bad. You might be able to get him, but 58% rostered. So technically he doesn't make the cut of the show, but we wanted to throw him in there just because he's barely over. Andy Dalton at 4%. Tyrod Taylor at 13%, and Taylor Heinecke at just 21% as well. So these are your quarterback waiver wires of this week. Flex starts, which we'll start here, Big Travie, with your boy, Tyrod Taylor. Looking like a decent play. Do you like this moving forward? Can you play him this week? And then is he more on a quarterback 2 option for you, or do you think that he could potentially be startable in 12 team leagues?
I think at the very fringe, he's probably going to be like a QB 15 or something most weeks, just because of the way that it shakes out. But in the 4 games that he's been able to play this year, he has 16 or more fantasy points in 3 of them. Last week, he ran for 2 touchdowns. He's going to get a date with the New York Jets. The Jets are now allowing 19 points per game at the position. Look, Taylor as an option in fantasy football is not sexy. In fact, most of who we've talked about today is not going to be sexy, but he provides a nice floor with an excellent chance to get home against a subpar opponent this week. But graphic be damned, Tyrod Taylor be damned. I think the number one streaming option for me, if I'm a Kelsey or I'm a Patrick Mahomes owner, or I'm a who else is on bye this week?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. I really like Jimmy Garoppolo, guys.
Jimmy G.
49ers. Don't look now, but he's basically shut everybody up that said Trey Lance is going to be the guy. And he's got in 6-point touchdown leagues. Jimmy G has not scored fewer than 19 fantasy points in 4 straight games. And the 49er offense kind of turning a bit of a corner. Kittle's healthy. Debo is balling. The run game is productive. And we even had Ayuk show up last week, Johnny, and it kind of his numbers are starting to turn around a little bit over the last few weeks. So I think you look at Garoppolo, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception in his last 3 games. He's my top streamer because they're playing a Vikings defense that just gave up 30 fantasy points to Aaron Rodgers. And guess who has the 3rd highest team implied total? That means the desert. Our odds makers think that the 49ers will score the 3rd most points out of any team this week against the Vikings. They're at home. I actually love this situation here for Jimmy G.
Yeah, I like it a lot as well. I think that you can start both. I mean, obviously you're starting Debo, but I think that even this week you could continue to roll out Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a solid play.
Rolling the flames with this offense as it starts to get going here.
Yep. All right. That wraps up. Oh, sorry. We got to do tight ends. Tight ends real quick.
Hey, you almost forgot about the
ugliest position. And it is, if you thought the quarterback position, Whisper Nation, was pretty ugly this week, I'm telling you, the tight end position doesn't get that much better. The tight end giveth
and the tight end take it away. Just when I thought we were going to get to be able to put Troutman in as my top streamer of the week, MCL injury. He's out 4 to 6 weeks here.
Unreal.
Not
good. So now, unfortunately, we're down to only 2. Just the two of us.
Oh,
You
man.
can get them if you try. Just the
You
two
probably
tight
can get them, and
ends.
I don't know if
You
you
and
want to.
I. You
When you
won't.
get them, you will cry.
Hey, probably waiver wire ads right now at the tight end position would be Austin Hooper, 18%, and Ryan Griffin for the New York Jets. Make sure too, if you are going after Ryan Griffin, there are two Ryan Griffins in the NFL, and so make sure you type in the right one, because there is also a quarterback for Tampa Bay named Ryan Griffin, spelled the exact same way. So make sure you're doing that right if you need him. But Travi, he said, when we were DMing before the show, and I was just asking him kind of what guys he was thinking about, and he said this one might be tough, but we'll talk about Ryan Griffin. You want to bring? You had a pretty good line about Ryan Griffin.
Yeah,
so.
I think. Look, I plug your nose is essentially the line I have here. You have to plug your nose and figure out what you want to do this week, because Ryan Griffin is absolutely somebody that we should consider. But first, I want to talk about Austin Hooper. Cleveland Browns rostered 18% of leagues. Look, it's looking bleak for our Kelsey owners right now. But one of my favorite streaming options this week is Austin Hooper against the Ravens. Hooper now has 5 or more targets in 3 of his last 4 games, and 50 yards or a touchdown in back-to-back games. This week, he's going to get the Ravens. They allow 13 points per game to the position. That's top 5. So for me, Austin Hooper is a worth of a streamer. But if Hooper is the target version of our Kelsey replacement, then Ryan Griffin is the Walmart version. And Griffin will likely be seeing another week of Joe Flacco throwing in the ball. And while he didn't do much last week, he did see 6.9 PPR points, and that's nice. So we like that.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it's not that nice, but we like 6.9. Yeah. But more importantly, he's going to play the Texans this week, Johnny. They give up a ton of points to the tight end position, ranking 6th in points allowed to the tight end in 2021. So for me, Ryan Griffin, if you're desperate, and that's where we're at right now, guys, with these desperate plays at the tight end position, at the running back position, I think Ryan Griffin is a guy you can look at this week for a 1-week fill-in. I did want to bring up, Arnold asking about Dan Arnold. He's owned in 53% of leagues, so he didn't make the cut here. And also Dan Arnold, just about as dicey as any other tight end after putting up a fat goose egg last week.
I will say I would rather have Dan Arnold, though, knowing with Agnew going out. But
I'd rather have Dan Arnold than
technically make the cut.
Absolutely,
so that was the whole reason. But we agree, Dan Arnold as well as Logan Thomas. But Logan Thomas as well, 56% rostered. So that's why we didn't bring him up. But that does it for the streams, the waiver wire show.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention a few of the honorable mentions, Johnny, real quick. We got Dontrell Hillard, who we talked about at the running back position. Kendrick Bourne of the New England Patriots, 19%. Be keeping an eye on him. Maybe if you've got that end of the bench stash and you want somebody there. Will Fuller could be coming back. They're unsure if Will Fuller will come back just yet, but he could be coming back. Marquise Goodwin, now with Andy Dalton, probably going to start. He saw over 100 yards last week, so that could be something interesting there. And then as far as the quarterback position, Taylor Heinecke and Andy Dalton make honorable mentions here. Not that we're going to be very excited to start either of those guys.
The nice thing is that Andy Dalton gets to play the Bears. So
he is on the Bears,
or I mean, the Detroit Lions. I mean, so that should be a good startable matchup for him.
Should be, but it is Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton playing his own team.
Yeah, playing himself.
Yeah. All right, that does it for our show. Whisper Nation, we will jump into your questions and comments. Appreciate you once again for hanging with us this whole show. Make sure you're hitting us with that like and subscribe. If you're new, let us know. We'll shout you out. Got Eagle Fang, Gus Ramos in the chat, Ronald,
Asian boy.
Let's see. We got to some of these. Oh, we got Silva coming in. I need to drop one player to take CEH off of reserve. AP or Foreman. I'm trying to trade Tannehill and AP for Burrow, so I don't give one player for free. Is that a good move? That's a fantastic move.
Yeah, I'd do that deal.
I love that. But if you can't make that move and you have to drop one, I'm probably going to drop AP.
I guess. Yeah, it's take your pick. If this is it a standard league, I might keep on to AP if it's standard over Foreman, but I do think Foreman has the most upside. So if you're just looking for the stash for upside, Foreman would be the one I'd keep on to.
All right. Asian boy asking, should I trade Zeke?
That's an interesting. I'm pretty invested in Zeke, and I thought the same thing this morning. The problem that I have is that one, he came back from injury, so I don't think that it's going to be a long-lasting thing. They get a mini bye after this game, so even if he does go and he can make it through healthy, they'll get about 10 days to rest up. The schedule is really nice for the Cowboys down the stretch. I mean, they don't really have a lot of games you're worried about. The Chiefs were a tough matchup against the run, even though their defense isn't good. We knew that a lot of teams throw on the Chiefs, so it was a bad matchup to begin with, and he got dinged up. I do think that him and Pollard have some really nice matchups down the stretch, so I don't know. It would always depend, Asian boy, on what you're getting in return, but right now he's still the RB7 with a few bad weeks under his belt, and I think that he gets right in a lot of these matchups down the stretch.
I like that. Mr. Ma, I like the image work. Appreciate that. Trying to bring fresh new stuff to the show. Always improving.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you get those graphics up there. We're gonna keep rocking with the graphics going forward.
Yep. Ronald
Fuller is Tyler Lockett if his highs and lows were even more extreme. Still the best long-term pickup.
I agree.
I think he's a decent long-term pickup. I would argue that MVS has similar upside to Will Fuller if all things were to click right. Remember, Jalen Waddle still exists in this offense. Mike Gesicki are still guys. It's not like Will Fuller's coming back to be the number one. So it's not a huge pie that he's trying to go and carve up right now. And we have nothing to tell us that Tua's even going to like Will Fuller or go to him. Like that's the concern I have with Fuller coming back. But I do agree he's an interesting stash for some of our playoff teams.
This is also a bit of news that we didn't touch on.
Good
question. New OC in New York. I would keep Galladay to see what he does.
It just
got your boy Freddie Kitchens now in the kitchen, dude. They're gonna let Danny Dimes cook.
Yeah, who knows? I can't trust Daniel Jones. I don't think it's just to do with the play calling. I think it's a decision-making issue as well. For me with Daniel Jones. So it's tough for me to want to, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be that into Galladay, but I understand the stash. I thought he would be a good stash last week. Obviously came out, caught one ball. I don't, and ML saying about the playoff schedule gets Philly and Dallas in the playoffs weeks 15 through 17. I mean, yeah, but is Diggs going to cover Galladay because he's the extra receiver? Because then it's like that's not that great of a matchup. And then Philly, they've had their moments. Big play Slay is balling out here, so not as good looking as you would think for the primary wide receiver. I don't know if that's what it's going to be.
And I don't. I apologize. I don't recall.
Mosquito bit me right on the show, man.
Oh wow, dude! He wanted some of that blood, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Coming after you. I haven't been able to look significantly into the market share or the tendencies that Kitchens has. So I need to look into that, and then I could give you a better idea of what we can expect from Galladay and the rest of this offense. But again, we just kind of learned this right before the show, so I haven't been able to look into a whole lot of that market share. But I would presume that there could be better days ahead. But again, it could be like Big Travis said, a Danny Dimes thing, and then that's your problem.
Yeah. I need a QB. Should I go for Heinecke, Wentz, or Tyrod? I would go with Wentz here out of these three.
Yeah.
I know Wentz has a little bit of a floor, but that offense is very dynamic now with the ability of Jonathan Taylor to also catch balls out of the backfield. And then you have Pittman with the big play ability as well.
Right here. I like this. Oh, okay.
Mark Yasko, what's the start this week? Logan Thomas or Tyler Higbee? Man, this is tough. I would probably lean Logan Thomas if he can get healthy. He seems to be out there quite a bit when he's in the offense. And we've seen DeAndre Carter get a few touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. So I think the touchdown upside would actually be there for our guy, Logan Thomas. Man, what a world. I really, really loved Higbee this year coming in.
Yeah, Higbee against Green Bay. Not the best matchup.
No.
Got a Eagle fan coming in here asking, I have AJ Brown and DJ Moore on bye week 13. I was offered Hopkins and Higbee for DJ. Oh, I would do that. Hopkins has a great schedule coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I think that's fine to do. Yeah. I think they probably are about the same. I think DJ Moore, where he has had a lot of targets, he hasn't really done much. We did get the touchdown last week, so you might have an ability to go. This is a buy low opportunity on Hopkins here, so I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's a good play.
Ronald saying he would keep DJ. Good points on Diggs and Slay covering Galladay. ML says appreciate that, ML. What about Evan Ingram or Logan Thomas? I'd probably still go Logan Thomas. It's just too uncertain what New York's going to look like with Freddie Kitchens. I mean, this guy flamed out in Cleveland. He's not, I don't know that he's much better than Jason Garrett. And this team just looks like in disarray right now. So I'd be a little bit concerned there.
Go ahead.
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay.
I think we got through these questions. I want to thank Whisper Nation for hopping in here with us. And remember, the link to the article is in the description below. And of course, we'll keep rocking with you tomorrow. We've got the big trade deadlines are coming up in a lot of leagues. We've got our trade away, trade for show tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you put those notifications on. You'll catch us tomorrow morning as we do that one as well. We'll have the matchup shows coming out as well. So make sure you're subscribed on all the podcast platforms. We appreciate you, Whisper Nation.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy week, Thanksgiving, but we'll get you set. We'll get you ready to go for all those matchups still. So make sure you're sticking with us. Make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell. We'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're not in our Discord, jump into that Discord. It's popping off over in our Discord channel. The link to that is in the description below. Until, like Big Travie said, my partner, find him on Twitter at Big Travie TFW. Find me on Twitter at Johnny_GameTime. Till tomorrow, Whisper Nation. Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Got to find that outro button.
Right here.
Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. Or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community, head on over to our Discord chat. Link is in the description below. And if you're still not sold on us, check out one of these videos.